All right, boys, how well done?
Yeah, good
No,
man.
that's good. Very good.
The shitebags are back. Hearts have won. We're all back. Absolutely patched it last week because Hearts got beat, but now we're all back because Hearts won. Brilliant, isn't it?
Well, I didn't think that was actually the reason, but that sounds good. Aye, we're all shite bags.
It does fit the agenda, doesn't it?
It does, mate.
Certainly, like.
It does. Well, we could say that we've sobered up for Motherwell because we could talk about that, or we could say that we've defrosted for Saturday because that was the coldest I've ever been at football. It was a joke. But shitebags is better, isn't it?
Yep.
Definitely.
Accurate for us.
It is. It's good to have us back anyway. So obviously, welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As we say all the time, all of our opinions are our own and always miles off it. I should have said pathetic there because that seemed to have got everybody proper riled at the weekend, wasn't it? Pathetic. Pathetic for Corbett.
You're such a faceless man.
Again, man.
Look at you sitting right there with no face.
Yeah, I let him off lightly because I'm the biggest media who're about, man. How's he not seen my face? I need to get my agent on that. A random guy said he's never heard of me before. You need to buck up your ideas or get another agent. I've got the same agent as John Suter. He's fucking useless. Anyway, so we've obviously got two games to talk about. We'll look back on Motherwell. Why, I don't know, but we might as well, since we dodged out of talking about it last week. Talk about yesterday against St Midden. Look forward to a Celtic shagging on Thursday. And then we're actually coming into a little bit of a tough run. So we might as well have a wee look at that. We'll try and see if we can predict how our next couple of games are going to go. And then all the usual stuff. We've got the answers to a Shanks McCann we put out 5 weeks ago. You've got Bradley's conundrums that we've done 4 weeks. I'm sure Harry Cockring will probably feature again. And then Kevin McKenna's as players, we'll do that too. And if everything goes well, we might even have a down. There you go, Tim. There's your first one of the day. Not a time.
Ding,
Get a timestamp on that. You've had nothing else today. Before we dive into all the nonsense as well, we'll start at the top of the. Oh, I'm going to have to say show because I've set myself up to say the word, but I'll say at the top of the show that tomorrow, which will be Monday the 29th, we'll start our week-long sort of posting of our interviews with the 5 Foundation of Hearts candidates. So we'll have the first instalment, a first interview with, I believe it's going to be Jerry Mallon, that's his name, isn't it? First tomorrow, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll have the rest of them. And I believe that the voting for your favourite candidate opens tomorrow. So as we say in the little mini series with our interviews, make sure that you take advantage of being able to vote. That's what the whole point of the Foundation of Hearts is. That's why it's successful. That's why we have a voice in the club. There's 3 spaces up for grabs. One is someone going for renewal, and we can vote 2 new voices onto the board. So make sure you vote. And that's what the whole point of it is. Cool. That's us done the professional stuff. Shanks, give us the answer to, was it Ian Black at Ibrox or something like that? I can't remember. When was the last time we did one of these? What was the clues?
It was 2 weeks ago.
You weren't here either, though, Corbett. That was it.
Aye. We must have got beaten. So, I dodge it.
So I did make an effort to type these up, but no can be bothered to actually put them on the Twitter, so that's fine.
Did you put them on the Instagram that you run?
Zoom? No, I didn't.
All right. Oh, so come for us, but the one platform that you actually manage, you never even bother to do it yourself.
All right, Arsepiece.
Fucking son of a bitch. That's what it is.
I loved looking at what your cats had for their dinner yesterday. Brilliant.
Oh, I spewed it up this morning everywhere. It took me 20 minutes to find them all. Wee piles.
Actually, before we get into this, do your cats still have more followers than us on Instagram?
Yes.
Well,
yes,
you're fucking sacked from Instagram, Shanks. You're shite at it. Give it to your bud. She's clearly the one running the cats account. She'll probably do us wonders.
I'll see if she's interested in what potential future sponsors may be sending us in the post to see if that'll get her on the hook. Right, sound. So I told you about a game where a player scored a hat-trick, and then I rounded it off by saying that this player would have only topped that hat-trick had it been in the Champions League final, given who he supports. So it was the 5-0 at home against Kilmarnock. Steve got the hat-trick, and the wee Xavi Smiler was spewing in Chris Boyd. There we go. Game number 2, horrific patter from me. Did anyone get IMAX Scran pumped again at Tiny?
No.
That was popcorn teeth, and it was Rudy and Stevo 2-0 against Celtic back in 2011. That was your 2. If anybody listened to that, which feels like a lifetime ago.
I feel like that game features very heavily in our recollections of memories. That game, I'm sure.
Oh, we are on episode fucking 68. So
what, 67, and what we're already regurgitating famous wins in Harry Cochrane.
Shows how broad our knowledge is, really, doesn't it?
Your knowledge, you get called out for it all the time. Somebody had a poppy.
Ken, fuck you, Amoruso lets it run. What you doing, man? I know loads of stuff.
Aye, about Livingston. If this was about Sanchez Brotto, you'd be able to tell us no bother at all. David Fernandez.
Give me a Scotland quiz.
Aye. You know fuck all about that day. You just go because you get free tickets. Right. We'll move on. Brad's, you're going to give us some conundrums this week, ain't you? Or because Shanks couldn't be bothered to do McCann's for this week. So let's get the conundrums. What is it? Couple for us and one for social media, or
no, just 3 for you boys.
Just for us, right? Go.
Again, I am already recycling stuff that's already been done.
Right, cool, nice one.
Juliet,
I was going to say it says Mel Boozy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As ever, these are fucking useless. I'll try and give you the first name and surname as a clue in here, so be paying attention. Right, your first one. Randall and Salmon were trying to find their teammates, Claire and McCurdy. But Claire and McCurdy had gone on a cruise. Randall asks if the guys were on land, but I responded blank. Do you want the initials, or are you going to try and have a guess at this?
I think we need initials.
See, I hate the initials.
Like
that was just hundreds of words, man.
Tam just gets it from the initials and doesn't fit the two together. Right.
No, I've got no knowledge, so it's fine.
Randall and Salmon were trying to find their teammates, Claire and McCurdy. But Claire and McCurdy had gone on a cruise. Randall asked if the guys were on land, but I responded blank. And the initials are CS. So both the first name and the surname are clued in there.
It's Corbett's face is fucking brilliant.
Right, number 2. I'm a wanker and Wilson.
Yeah, sure.
Amanqua, Wilson, and this player started a boy band, but their music ability was as pish as their performances for Hearts. Tonight will be their final performance. In other words, it will be their blank. DS.
This has turned into blankety blank rather than conundrums.
Do you want that one again?
Yeah.
Amanqua, Wilson, and this player started a boy band, but their music abilities were as pish as their Hearts performance. Tonight, their final performance. Tonight will be their final performance, or in other words, their blank. DS.
That was quite good for you.
And your final one. I know there's been rumours why Temps has retired. Is it fitness? Is it health? So this is the actual reason I've heard. Templeton has retired to set up a snow sports business with the big fanny from that 70s show who managed to bag Kunis and Moore. They have combined their names to come up with a perfect company. DK. Templeton has retired to set up a snow sports business with a big fanny from that 70s show. He managed to bag Kunis and Moore. They have combined their names to come up with a perfect company. DK. Right, well, we'll just have a guess at these now.
Go for it.
Right, who's going to have a stab at the first one then?
We're not just going to do this at the end, no?
We can do it at the end if you want. We'll come back to
Do
that.
at the end. All right.
Here's something to cheer us up, because the last thing we're going to talk about is how fucking much Celtic are going to pump us on Thursday. So we need something to bring us back to life, won't it?
We'll come back to them. It gives the
Right.
people listening a chance to go, what the fuck was he talking about?
Aye. What was the initials for the first one?
The first one
CS.
or CS.
Right, so cool. Right, and then the one thing that we didn't bother to put onto social media, Kev, Geezer, Kevin McKenna's as players. What have we got for us?
So the one we had a couple of weeks ago, the one that went out in the socials, was born in France but played for Senegal. Burley didn't want him, and due to injury and politics, he got his chance nearly 7 months after he signed. So there's a number of people who did get it right, but I do want to call out on Twitter Jamie G1874, who put down Stephen Simmons. I didn't realise that Stephen Simmons was born in France and played for Senegal, but there you go.
He's not listening to you, Kev. He's just guessed.
Exactly. We also had Berry Useless and a number of others that popped in. However, we did have the majority of people did get it right, and the correct answer was Abraham Tal. So well done to Jordan Sterling, to Tomo414, Andy Dixon, Amaruso Let's It Run. And who else did he get it right? Maximus Hound. So yeah, well done to them. I've got 2 for the show tonight and 1 for the socials. So
Go for it, Kev.
nice and easy for this one. Played more games for Hearts than any other club. Only scored 3 competitive goals, one of which was in a 2-2 draw against Rangers. And he did play for another Scottish club, but they're shite.
I know what the fuck is that on your screen.
That's my cat. Like,
That was the highlight of the day so far.
being an absolute arsehole. Right. Here she is.
Well, we
right.
just seen it's arsehole.
There we go. Stop being a fucking dickhead. Right.
Ando, my cats would kick your cat's cunt in.
That's fine, man. Like,
Right, Kev, you are.
if that's your highest piss mark on the wall, then fine, so be it.
That's all I've got, man. That's all I've got.
It's an all-time low for you, Kev. You've been upstaged by a cat's arsehole.
I don't even know what you said, Kev. Sorry.
It's actually this particular player was one that you should get, Tam.
Right,
Okay.
start again.
So, played more games for Hearts than any other club in his career. Only scored 3 competitive goals, one of which was in a 2-2 draw with Rangers. And he did play for another Scottish club, but they're shite. So, do you want to take a pop guess?
Oh, we're not doing answers at the end.
Yeah,
The answer's at the end if you want. I'll give you the second one. Second one was, this is a tougher one. Brought to the club by Big Joe Jordan. Only ever scored in cup competitions and was next to Scott Crabbe in the hairdressers getting his highlights done.
So he didn't have highlights as we
This is a point of contention, this, isn't it?
So that's your 2 for the show, and I'll send the other one down for the socials. What's that you're opening now, Ando?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Kev. This is one of my 3 out of 8 cans of craft beers that I just got from Beer 52.
Beer 52. Never heard of them. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I went to beer52.com/my story, and all I paid was £5.95 to cover the postage and packaging, and I'm now part of Beer 52, which is the world's largest beer club. And one of the benefits of that is that each month members like me are sent a case with a different theme.
I've been a member for a few months as well. I've had beers for all over the place. Like past themes have included like Belgium, Korea, California, New Zealand, Germany, Melbourne. Like I've had a beer for Arno Zoom, Daniel Stendhal, Perry Kitchen, Patrick Cosnorbo. It's been class.
Does sound
Ideal.
interesting. Anything else you get with it?
Yeah, aye. So it comes with a magazine and 2 snacks every month. And guess what? you don't like dark beer, then choose the light option. Plus, you can pause or cancel at any time. All you need to do is go to beer52.com/mystory. And as I say, pay the $5.95 postage to get all of this right now.
Sounds
Sounds
good.
like a class deal to me.
Aye, it does sound good. We got that on the website.
Yes, we do. So check it out, beer52.com/mystory.
Magic. I can look at that later on tonight.
Cool, right. Headlines for this week. We've obviously got hundreds to unpack when it comes to the game, so we'll just rattle through some of the headlines that have caught our eyes over the past couple of weeks. First thing, cutting Rangers allocation. I believe the game on the 12th of December, we've cut their allocation to 1,000, which is basically will be the first two sections of the Roseburn, I think, and then I'm assuming that the rest of the Roseburn will go on public sale to Hearts fans. It's a positive step in the right direction for the football club, innit? They listened to the fans and done what the fans asked them to do.
Absolutely.
What we wanted.
Yeah, like there's an argument to say that you're missing out on, like, because you can always charge the away fans a couple of quid more for their seats, but the fact that we're going to be missing out on like one strip, because obviously I think they need to leave that for segregation or whatever. I'm quite happy to increase my pledge to cover the cost of that. So fuck you, Rangers. I'm all for it. It's a kind of shithousery and petty mindedness that I love in football. Now,
Well, to be
it's
fair,
absolutely the right way to go.
I think the club needs to change its mindset in terms of what we're doing. Like, I don't see it as being petty, because they give us 900 tickets for Ibrox, which is about just under 2% of the capacity. We give them 1,000, which is closer to 10% capacity or whatever it works out. We give them a much bigger percentage of the stadium than they give us. It gives them a massively unfair advantage in terms of, they've got a full stand behind the goals, cheering them on, sucking them towards them. I think the club have done it right. And again, it's this myth that I'd seen loads of Rangers fans sort of bring up that they've had since the word went liquidated and came back, is this myth that clubs need their money. Hearts just posted £2 million profit. We could leave that stand empty. We could knock that fucking stand down. We could do whatever we wanted with that stand. We don't need your money. We don't need Rangers fans inside Tynecastle to keep the club afloat. That needs to get in the bin. We had 17,200 at the game yesterday for a run-of-the-mill Saturday match versus St Mirren. Rangers coming to Tynecastle means fuck all to us. Do you know what I mean? It literally doesn't mean anything. So get that in the bin. And again, it's one of those things. I hope that, like you said, I'm happy for the rest of that stand to be empty. I don't care. But I hope it's filled with Hearts fans, just purely because it'll help add to the atmosphere. It'll help add to getting behind the team and all that sort of stuff. And then hopefully it's a stance that the club keep going forward.
Definitely.
Exactly that.
We did it before, Kev, didn't we? We've cut Hibs allocation. We say cut, they literally couldn't sell the tickets, so we sold them for them. We've done that a few times, and we've done it a few times with Celtic and Rangers. It's something that you hope becomes the norm, don't we?
Aye, we done it under the Vlad days, way back in the Vlad days. He was one of the main advocates of never having a full stand full of Celtic or Rangers fans or Hibs fans or whatever. So I'm all for it. I personally, like you've just said, would rather see Hearts fans take up the tickets than leave it empty. Of course we would. But Hearts fans have been calling for it for God knows how many seasons. So put your hand in your pocket and go and buy a ticket.
Exactly. Shanks.
To be fair though, if we're talking old school category A games, then the Old Firm deserve what they get based on everything you've just said. Aberdeen deserve it because we only get that shitey wee bit in the cage, regardless. There's something about Hearts Hibs though. For me, I prefer it when it's the full end.
I don't ever remember the Hibs allocation ever being cut. I can't think of it happening.
Go back to the Suso Santana goal where we're 1-0 up already. I think Beattie put us 1-0 up, and then Suso scores in the last kick of the ball to make it 2-0. The Paulo Sergio year. I'm pretty sure there's only like 3/4 of a stand or a third of a stand of Hibs fans there because they were shite and never showed up. So,
Yeah.
but again, that wasn't us. We never went out and said, "Oh, we're cutting your allocation." It was just they never sold the tickets. So, yeah, we could have we were able to, and I'm sure Ryan Stevenson scored a couple in a derby once that we only had like 3/4 of the stand with Hibs fans in it, type thing. But again, I'm with you, Shanks, as well. The derby's special. You know, I like having them there to watch them get beat. It's something quite satisfying about having 4,000 of them there to watch us battle them, and vice versa, 4,500 of us at Easter Road to see us win. So I don't mind that. And to be honest with you, I think Rangers are bearing the brunt of something that Celtic put in play. If I'm being honest with you, it was Celtic that started all this nonsense with the red zones and the cutting allocations. You know, Raith Rovers had no fans at Celtic Park. They didn't let Hearts have any fans at Celtic Park for the League Cup games and all that sort of stuff, whilst the stadium sat absolute empty. So I think it's the right thing to do. So that was one thing that caught our eye. Another thing that's been building, and you'll seen loads of chat about on Twitter as well, is we've got a couple of contract situations bubbling away. Obviously, the most documented and well spoken about one is John Souttar. I think I've come to terms now, and performances like Saturday make it a little bit easier to accept it, but it is highly likely John Souttar's just going to leave for free. Robbie said in the press this week that we've basically gave him our absolute best offer, and that if we are going to sell him in January, then it's going to be to a club that gives us an offer we can't refuse. But we do have a couple of other contract situations that are bubbling that I think our attention needs to be turned to, which is obviously Craig Gordon. Again, his contract's out in the summer. Worth his weight in gold. 3 points were won on the back of Craig Gordon on Saturday. It gives us a platform to go on and score the 2 goals with the saves, and then the other is obviously Stephen Kingsley. I think his contract situation in the summer as well. So they've got to be a priority, Brad, isn't they?
Yeah, I'm just see when you're talking about that, I'm actually getting the fear, because I might be wrong here, but we could potentially, apart from Mikey Smith, lose that full back defensive line in the summer. So it could be Souttar, Kingsley, Halcock's out of contract, I believe. Cochrane can go back to his parent club. Moore could go back to his parent club. Gordon could leave. Fuck me.
Step
Gordon-
forward, Joe
Gordon's-
Van Oceania.
Gordon's not going anywhere, man. He's a Hearts man through and through. I know he keeps talking about aspirations like Scotland greatness and all that sort of stuff. He's not going anywhere, man. He'll be staying with us.
I
By
just
hook
don't
or by
like to
crook.
take things for granted like that, man.
The problem that we have is that, like, Andy Gordon signed with Man United when he was like 40 or something like that, just for a season. Yeah, if someday, it's not an exaggeration to say that he's world class as a goalkeeper. He's absolutely ridiculous. And if somebody chapped his door and gave him one last year on absolute ridiculous money, he's not going to say no to stay in Gorgie, is he? I don't know. Maybe I hope he did.
What's the boy doing at Manchester United? Is it Paul Grant?
Yeah.
25 grand a week, and he puts out the cones for training and collects them back in. He literally
Even
does
like
that.
Scott Carson got a Premier League medal last year. And he's
Aye,
like,
Man City, that's true. Aye. So, well, there's a way to ruin your Sunday night, and I was absolutely dead. So we've got nobody at the back, and Cheesy's the new goalkeeper. Fucking yes, absolute buzzing. No, but all jokes aside, Stephen Kingsley flies under the radar, doesn't he? Because obviously John Souttar is the one at the back that we kind of have all our hopes that he stays with the club, because he, on his day, Saturday aside, he is class. But Kingsley is superb. We haven't had a left-sided player as good as Stephen Kingsley since Lee Wallace, Takis Pieces, potentially.
Probably.
100%.
Aye.
And then
Aye,
add
easily.
into dead ball specialist. When was the last time
Yeah.
we had a dead ball specialist like that?
Absolutely seamless. It's like we've never been away. That's what we're going to talk about next, Thomas. Thank you for coming. There we go. So
my piece.
Stephen Kingsley's free kick on Saturday puts him now the leading goal scorer of free kicks this century. He's on 5. I think Paul Hartley is the next closest to him. We overtook him on Saturday. There as well has been penalties with Kingsley, ain't they? Anywhere within 25 yards as well, just giving us the goal, isn't it?
Yes. Did any of you guys look at that and just think automatically this is fucking in?
I was pretty close to thinking this could go in. Like,
Well, I definitely did. It's like when I seen him line it up at that distance and that sort of at that angle, and considering what he done, like I think the first time he done it was against Dundee. What last in the
First game of the season.
Aye, first game of the season last year. Then and he's done it. What I think this is the fourth or even the fifth time or whatever. Then it's absolutely sensational, and it's brilliant that we've got someone that can finally hit free kicks like that. It's absolutely outstanding.
I seen
It was a goal all the way.
Mackay was over it as well. I think was it Mackay? I think it was.
Aye.
That's just a dummy, though.
Aye, but he did it. It was a couple of weeks ago. Him and Mackay were over a free kick, and I was watching the game with my dad. I was like, "Oh, here we go." And my dad was like, "Aye, who's that?" Fucking every single time we watch Hearts, I'm like, "Aye, serious that?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, you scalp it." And then Mackay fucking fucked it into the stand, and I was like, "Ah, all right, sound." So I was out there, Tam, with my wee iPhone
you
camera.
videoed it, one of those guys.
I was
Virgin.
the Old Trafford Virgin. Aye. I fucking went in, and I was so frustrated because I wanted to continue my video, but then I wanted to celebrate, so I just fucked it. Aye.
Can I ask, did you get your phone out for the last minute as well? On that last minute?
No, I was already at Sainsbury's by then. It was freezing.
Oh, okay.
Describe that to me.
Shanks stormed out because nobody joined in his stupid torching that he tried to get going because he seen it on Instagram and he tried to get his torch going. He was 4.5. Nobody joined in. Here, come on, Shanks.
Yeah, what was the torching about? There was folk like trying to fucking direct the Nielsen plane.
Mate, you've
No
just
bottle, no style, no out.
you've just outed yourself as well with your burner phone.
I know. What's
That's how
that?
you've got your big fancy hooks.
Wait till his missus watches
my
this.
stent house
Fucking hell.
You doing Black Friday deals, mate? Oh, was that just at the weekend?
Aye, drop-offs.
That's
making the cut list.
That's staying in.
It sure isn't.
That's what you get for having two phones.
I've got Lee Wallace in the back seat with a fucking BB gun just in case it gets really.
Just for folk not paying their tick. Aye, but it is class to have somebody that can actually score a free kick. I think it talks volumes that we've scored 5, and that puts him top goal scorer this century with 5 free kicks. There you go. So
I wish he'd hit his penalty last year in the final like he did that any of the free kicks, man.
What did you have to ruin
Why
it
have
for?
you brought that up?
Thanks,
Shut
Tam.
up, Tam.
Cheers, Tam.
Okay.
Do you know how hard I've tried to get over that with Stephen Kingsley? I want to love him, but that's all I can think about. And you've just brought it back. You've just brought it back.
You're the equivalent of Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day, to quote Austin Powers. That's just fucking absolute shit from you.
Well, there we go. I never thought we'd get to Margaret Thatcher, but there we go.
No,
There's a first for everything. Right, we've been procrastinating enough. We might as well dive into the Motherwell game. Let's talk about the positives. Thanks to the boys at Benson's and the Benson's bus for their hospitality. That's the proper way to run a supporters bus. It was class. So thanks to everybody there for letting us get involved. Thanks to Brad's for making us walk everywhere around Motherwell when we were on the doorstep of the pub we ended up in. That was fun. I like that. And well done to Hasbulla for showing up. That was good to see him win it. Fame's not got to his head. It was good to see him in the windmill in Motherwell.
Fucking hell, never thought you'd ever see that,
He was a lovely
Tam,
guy, to be fair. Really.
Tam,
was.
you had a
get
few,
ID'd at the bar.
Tam had a few moments. Do you want to talk us through them, Tam?
I don't really remember a thing, so we can just move on if you like.
That's fine. Paying attention, Tam Achel somehow bought around, which took us all by surprise.
Exactly. Yeah, but there's so many golden moments from Tam on that day. I don't feel like I should be the one to say it. I think it like someone else should describe the movement of utter brilliance that he made in that pub, whatever the fuck it was called.
It's called the Windmill, I believe it was.
Is that what it was called?
Was that the movement I was doing too, the windmill?
Aye,
That was the movement that your bird was doing when you strolled in the door and spewed on the bottom step.
aye. But that was pretty much where the excitement ended, wasn't it? Because for the minute we walked into Motherwell, the minute we kicked off, we were fucking jobby.
Absolutely garbage. And I'd like to thank the good people of Motherwell, particularly the people that work in that absolute shithole of a fucking stand that sold me the macaroni pie that gave me the runs for the 48 hours after I fucking returned home. Fuck you, Motherwell. I certainly won't be back anytime soon.
The
Well,
football just spoiled a good day, to be honest. That was the worst part of the whole day.
well, to be honest with you, that's kind of what Hearts is, though, isn't it? You go for the day out, and then Hearts ruin it in between for you. So that's what it was. Brad, do you want to talk about your record in Motherwell?
It's fucking atrocious. I think the last 5 times I've been there, it's been 3 defeats and 2 draws. So I have yet to see a victory. Maybe in the last kind of 10 years. So I'm not going back. I'll stay in the pub.
Can we
I quite enjoyed the
Pick
pub.
a different away day. Why do we keep persisting with that?
Well, we've got an away day
It's
on
like an
Sunday.
ex-bird. Just delete our fucking number. Come on.
We've got an away day on Sunday coming up, don't we? Can we call it an away day?
That's another fucking black spot away day that I'm not really interested in repeating. I don't know why we're going.
December in Livingston
aye,
is never a good
December.
thing.
Aye.
Well, it's weird. Livingston at any point when we're only in the Premier League is piss easy for Hearts. But put Livingston in the Premier League and make Hearts go play them, and we can't do it. I mean, literally, I think it's like 12 years or something like that since we last beat Livingston in the top flight at Livy. Come on, Tam, get your stats out. That's your team.
It's definitely worth it though, because Shanks, whenever he goes there, seems to turn into the Pied Piper of the young team. As can be proven by the gift that you'll find on WhatsApp. It's like you need to go there, man. You're their leader. Like, if you go there, we'll
Connor
win.
Salmon that day for Party Thistle. There's nothing to do. I just couldn't get a seat in the way in.
So Motherwell, we rightly, wrongly, whatever way, it's dead easy in hindsight to talk about it in terms of saying that it was wrong, but kept the same team that dismantled Dundee United and put in probably one of the best performances we've seen from a Hearts side in recent memories. But you could just tell. I feel like minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, we had the game plan was to pass the ball about and try and get wide, and Motherwell wouldn't let us do it. And we had no second plan other than to just launch the ball forward. And you were punting the ball up to Barry Mackay, Josh Ginnelly, and Ben Woodburn, 5'8" if you're lucky, gone up against Mugabe and whoever else the other boy was at the back for Motherwell, and they'd won the lottery. It was the easiest 90 minutes they had. First half was diabolical, but we at least had 2 chances. The second half was even worse. It was the worst second half performance I've seen from Hearts for a long, long time. But until Boyce came on, I had a half chance, but that was pretty much about it. A couple of things I wanted to talk about was obviously the double save for Craig Gordon is outrageous, but I think because we were so angry, we not even spoke about it. But also, at the time, I was livid with him because I thought, you're an idiot. But Taylor Moore's second yellow is a disgrace.
Never even a yellow card or a foul, man.
It's never even a foul, let alone a booking. Talk us through the substitution time, because that's what you and my dad had it down for, wasn't it?
Aye, Taylor Moore got subbed off, man.
Yeah, so who's he getting taken off for?
Casper, the friendly ghost, came on instead, man.
I was like, he's been sent off. Has he? Well, Casper the friendly ghost just knocked that off my hand. Did you see that? It was pretty diabolical, wasn't it?
It was horrific. It was horrific, and I now actually understand why Taylor Moore was in the team yesterday, because I forgot he got sent off. I was so drunk.
You were very drunk, Kev, but it's fine. We'll leave it. We'll leave our dignity intact with that one. I did want to Motherwell. Obviously, we had Derek Watson for Motherwell on the last time when we played Tynecastle. We were going to get him on this week, but fuck that. I didn't want to sit and listen to him tell me how.
Shitebags again.
But again, like with pure Hearts perspective, I couldn't tell you a Motherwell player that I thought like run us ragged or played really, really well or whatever. We were just miles below what you come to expect. Do you know what I mean? Like for Craig Gordon, I didn't think he had 2 world-class saves, but again, you've got to question things like he just wasn't commanding. I think some of the 2 goals come from situations not directly from him, but maybe in the build up before the sort of the main events, where I think they could have came to collect it or offered himself for like a pass back or whatever, and he just wasn't very commanding. And I think it put Suter and Kingsley and stuff in a bad position. They didn't play well either. Don't get me wrong; it's no Craig Gordon's fault that we got beat, but I just felt from front to back we were pretty rubbish, weren't
I
we?
think from the
Aye.
back, like we did, like we've gave them pelters over the last year and a bit, but Halkett was a big miss on at the Motherwell game for it, and that was probably proven yesterday how well he played as well. To be fair,
Aye, that was one of my points I was going to make about yesterday, was the fact that Halkett did make a big difference yesterday, but we do have to touch on it. Like the Motherwell thing, we always end up with a player that's horrendous, couldn't he score anywhere else, and then plays Hearts and score, and it's that Connor Shields or whatever he is, and he's got like 2 professional goals or something like that in the ball game against Hearts. He ran us ragged against Queen of the South, and he ran us ragged at Motherwell, and he was a wonder save away from actually scoring a brace against us, which was crap. But one thing I did want to talk about, and it's something that will need addressed, is the away form. What have we? Two away wins this season. I think we've got 4 away wins in the past 4 top flight seasons or something crazy like that. I think we only beat Hibs twice in the last two campaigns were our only away victories, and then obviously Dundee United and St Mirren. What needs to change, Brads? If you were, do you think it's a change of shape? Is it a mentality thing? What if you were Robbie? You were in charge. Forget got to Celtic Park on Thursday. That's a different kettle of fish. But you're doing the team for Livy on Sunday. What do you change?
So we've spoke about this umpteen times this season, talking about like making them play to our game. Now, Robbie obviously didn't change the shape or formation for Motherwell, but they changed the dynamics of how they played. They changed that route one ball over the top. I mean, literally, you had your head in the hand for about 15 minutes at the end of that game, and I was going, this is literally the definition of insanity. Trying the same
Right.
thing over and over and over again and hoping that the results change. It's not. This, although he's making inroads to becoming a better manager, there must be a mentality change. He must be directing the players to do this. Otherwise, it's just an absolute shit show from them. But again, I would just want the ball on the deck and just run it, Livy. Run them ragged. Give that front three the opportunity to bomb forward. If that ball leaves the deck, I'd be hooking somebody off. Like, that is how bad it is. There's no point in playing that long ball. It doesn't work for Boyce because he wants to run the boys as well. He doesn't want to be that hold up striker.
Aye.
So for me, it has to be ball on the deck and run at them, and eventually something will come of it. It might be 10 runs from Gino and nothing happens, but then the 11th one might be a goal. Like, that's what I want to see from Hearts. That's my only thing, really.
Kev, we obviously stood up beside us for the game on Saturday. We'll come to talk about the St Mirren game as well, but is there an element that teams have sussed us out in terms of how to stop us getting Benny and Devlin completely in the game? Mackay, I was going to say Gary Mackay-Steven, but I won't waste my breath. Is there an element of that at play here, Jink?
I don't think so. I don't think it is a case. It's not from the point of view that we don't play the same every single week anyway. But what I do think is there's some players that are actually starting to believe their own hype. I think there's all, go back to actually just doing the simple thing. There's a couple of times I've watched over the last few games anyway, Aberdeen and Motherwell, and a bit yesterday, especially in the first half, we were trying to be just a wee bit too smart. Rather than actually, make a pass, I'll try and beat them. Or like Mackay did a couple of times yesterday, and he tried it last week. Oh, I beat him the first time. Oh, great, I'll go back and beat him again. No, you beat him already. Just carry on. So I don't think it's a case that that other teams have worked out how to play against us. I think it's just an element that we just need to get back to doing the simple things. and doing the simple things effectively. Because that was what we've done against Dundee United.
Menando, you can't beat Robbie with the stick. You can, but it's not just on his doorstep. We are historically really poor away from home. Amoruso lets us run, actually did some of the digging for us and pulled out some of the stats. Since 2015 until now, we'd played 96 away games and we'd won 26 of them. If you take away that probably 4 of them will have come at Easter Road, maybe even some more in the derby, you're looking at 20 wins in the top flight since 2015. Do you know what I mean? It's not Robbie's fault. It's a historic Hearts things, but that's not any good, is it?
No, definitely not. And if you go back to the Motherwell game from a couple of weeks ago, it's like you'd look at that fixture and you'd think, right, we'll go there, we'll play the way we played against Dundee United, and we'll absolutely smash the fucking back doors off Motherwell. But we didn't. We went there, we completely changed the game, and like to your point that you made, Brad's, like in the final, I think because you were getting right on my fucking nipple ends. Then in the final 20 minutes of the game, you were calling every single thing that was going to happen. You're like, oh, hey, Gordon, play the ball long over the top, blah, blah, blah. All that sort of stuff. It just, the game plan when it comes to away games just doesn't work, right? I think we need to be like almost an old firm mentality where like you go there with the fucking chest puffed out and the chin up high, you go in and you go, we're going to play our game in your ground, fuck what you think, and absolutely batter them into submission like we do at Tynecastle. We just don't do that away from home, and that's those stats that you've mentioned prove that out. That's what we need to change for me.
But then we had because this is what we do because we're at the podcast or whatever. But I remember the reaction and looking at the reaction of St Johnstone fans to our draw in Perth. Like 1 or 2 of them had said like that's the best footballing team we've played. Like that was a battering. Boy, we're lucky to get a 1-1. We've played well and got a good result at Ibrox. We've played well at St Mirren. We played very well at Dundee United as well. Ross County played well, obviously, but get ourselves in front and then lose. I think Aberdeen and Motherwell are like the two. They should be the results that are like the sort of they're out of sync. So they should be the ones that are like red flags.
The outliers.
They're outliers because you think that isn't reflective. So my thing here for you, Shanks, I'll ask you this, right? Is Dundee United at home, we had Taylor Moore and Cochrane, and every single time they got the ball, they wanted to go forward, they took their man, squared their man up, they overlapped, they overloaded, they got to the byline, they did everything from an attacking sense, and it was probably the best attacking performance I've seen from Hearts in a long, long time. We obviously brought Mikey Smith back in for Motherwell. Mikey Smith came back in yesterday. Halliday came in yesterday. There seems to be a different dynamic when Mikey Smith plays at right wing back. He doesn't offer the same support to whoever is in front of him, whether it be GMS, Woodburn, Ginnelly or Mackay. From an attacking sense, I always think that they end up looking isolated, working off silly long balls. The only 2 chances that we created really from open play against Motherwell were diagonal switches from Mikey Smith's side to put in like Ginnelly and then the Woodburn one as well. And it was like, again, that they were great passes, but you're thinking that the option is to go long on that side of the park rather than go in behind. Do you know what I mean? Because Mikey Smith just doesn't do that. You watch him yesterday. I would love somebody to, if they could even pull the stats, I'd love to know Mikey Smith's percentage of the touches that take him and this is stuff we spoke about last year in the Championship as well. Touches that take him facing Gordon. It doesn't matter where we are in the park, you pull him in, he'll take a touch and he's back facing Craig Gordon. Is that a dynamic that you think we need to change, Shanks, or is Mikey Smith first name in the team sheet still?
I think you're right in terms of he is always looking for that back pass. He's maybe getting a wee bit older. He's not quite got the legs to be going forward as much. Have we been a wee bit spoiled with the unknown quantity and Cochrane on the left, backed up by Kingsley, and seeing how that can really work when we've got some pace and some legs in there. As you say, Taylor Moore, breath of fresh air. Fuck was he doing for that red card? And I know we're going to get on at the St Mirren game, but Halliday, my God, he just looked miles off it. But you can clearly see why we've done that, setting him up for Celtic Park. The one game of the season that you're definitely going to play him. But he just looked, the amount of times that Kingsley was overtaking him, Kingsley was absolutely dominating that left wing, and that wasn't a game tactic. When you've got your, if you're playing your flat three at the back and your wing backs behind one of your centre backs, it's ridiculous. But I don't know. I'm not ready to throw the towel in on Smith. I'd be more interested in the left hand side. But when's Taylor Moore back? Is he back for the Celtic game? It wasn't a straight red, was it? It was just
one game
Yeah,
ban.
Yeah, it's a one game ban.
I'm not, but I don't think we're suggesting. I'm not suggesting we get rid of Mikey Smith, because Mikey Smith's been brilliant for Celtic to Hearts, and he's, like you said, wherever he plays, he's 6, 7, 8 out of 10 every week, because he's just Mr. Consistent. But the whole way we like to play is dynamic. It's fluid. It's all about rotating and going past your player and dropping in and going forward. And Mikey Smith's a right back. He's a great right back, a very, very good right back. He's not a wing back. So the argument here is, do we play a Josh Ginnelly there? Do we play a Woodburn there? Do we play Gary Mackay-Steven there and see how we go, Brads?
We did it with Sean Clare, didn't we? Before we move into Brad, sorry.
I think it works for Sean Clare because he had the physicality. I don't think any of those boys that you mentioned have that physicality to do the defensive side of things, and I don't know how effective they would be tracking back. I actually thought Mikey Smith wasn't terrible yesterday. I think Halliday killed him because there wasn't the kind of same support on both sides, so it became predictable. But you know my feelings on Mikey Smith. The best we've seen at that position with Taylor Moore was at 2-touch. He had 1 touch and the ball was away, 1 touch, ball was away, and then he was sprinting to get overlapping the player. Mikey Smith kills play. He's trying to be too neat and too tidy at times, and that's just what kills a counter attack. It allows the runs from Woodburn or Mackay or Boyce to be, the defenders are just caught up with him by then. So for me, he kills. It's just too slow. If he's going to be that wing back position, he has to be a give and go player. So give the ball away and get running, get sprinting, and get overlapping to support. He doesn't offer that. So again, if it was me, I'd be definitely going with Moore instead of him.
I agree, Ando.
Just the bit you mentioned about killing play. Pardon me. The bit you mentioned about killing play, Brads, is that it's not just him that does that for me. It is very, very prevalent, or I notice it a lot more because Corbett's been speaking about it for a wee while, that any touch Mikey Smith always takes is like backwards facing. But if you look at some of the forward play that St Midden had on Saturday, it was 1 touch, it was direct, and they were able to cut through us pretty well at some points throughout the game. But if you look at us going in the opposite direction, up our end of the park, we don't do that. And it's not just Mikey Smith that does it. It's like the ball will come to the feet of whoever, and they'll take 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, steady themselves, and then look for somebody, and then the defense is already set by that point. It's like it's a constant thing that we are not fast enough on the break. Now that's fair enough. If you're at home, you should be dictating play. We definitely did not dictate play yesterday, and the whole point about Mikey Smith taking a touch and going back towards goal is definitely valid, but the whole team seemed to do it. I don't think it's just isolated to him.
Well, I think that it's not been that way for long spells of the season, but this is the moment in time thing that you always get with Hearts, and I feel you always get with Robbie Nielsen, is like the Aberdeen game, the outlier. We changed the way we played to go against Aberdeen. You know, we brought Gary Mackay-Steven in. We've went a wee bit more defensive. We tried to focus purely on Aberdeen, and we've been battered. And it's that like thing where then the next away performance is Motherwell. We've been battered again because of it, and it's like, well, I'm fully on board with everything that you said there about we're away from home. puff your chest out, get on the ball, go play our game. But the problem that comes with that is, like we've seen, and we're going to talk about St Mirren now anyway, is that even yesterday at points, our game plan was too easy to stop. Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally, St Mirren played with three up front, pressed everybody at the back that had the ball, and 4 or 5 touches along the back, ends at Gordon's feet, and like Brad's was screaming his head off at Motherwell, he launches it. And that's no Boyce's game, it's no Mackay's game, and the worst thing for Roy, from a Hearts perspective, it's no Devlin or Benny's game either to be challenging for headers or try to challenge for headers for second balls and all that sort of stuff. They're great at winning the ball back, but they're no going to go and win bouncing balls or second headers and all that sort of stuff. It's just no their game. They're better when the ball's in their feet, where they can play passes, get their head up, go chase the ball back down, no watch it go over their head. And that's a worry for me is, well, what's plan B? Because again, the press thing, and we're going to play Celtic in our next match, who we're going to be up against it from the start. We need a better plan B than just sort of launch it to the weakest guys in the team. Right, St Mirren, let's go back to talking about Hearts winning. So obviously we played St Mirren yesterday at home. We won 2-0. We want to talk about the changes to the side. Ando, do you want to talk us through the changes that were made for Motherwell?
Someone's just messaged me telling me my hand was still up. No, I don't particularly want to speak about the changes. Because
Right.
I know we made, was it 4 changes from the starting lineup, or was it 3? We
Boys
made a
came in,
few.
didn't they?
We did,
So,
aye. And we're back to the good old fashioned 3-4-3, which is what you want to see with the prize players playing at Tynecastle. But there's so many things that I want to speak about yesterday. There were so many fucking things wrong with that performance yesterday, but I'm kind of almost of the mind of, right, you know what, there's the carpet, lift it up, fucking sweep it under, just because it was a win on the back of like what was an utterly dreadful performance, as we've just spoken about, against Motherwell. But changes themselves, bringing Halliday back in, I don't think Halliday had an absolutely terrible game. I didn't mind them coming back. GMS obviously coming back in, added a goal. That's really all I've got to say. That we can dwell on my negatives once everyone else has had their say.
well, I think if we're going to be positive, which I think we are, is something that Hearts have lacked for ages, and which is why one of the biggest reasons why we're ended up having to reference, that's what we talked about last year in the Championship, is the fact that Hearts couldn't win ugly. We couldn't win run-of-the-mill games where we were way below our best and get points on the board. You look at Hamilton, 2 each at home, the fact that we've not beat Kilmarnock for 40 years at Tynecastle, all those type of games under Stendhal, under Levine, under that run where we just couldn't do anything to get a victory, and we were way below our best yesterday and won. So that's the positives. Do you know what I mean? Like 2-0, clean sheet, play below your best, get second in the league, get the points on the board, move on. Something that we've not been able to do for ages and ages. So you're happy with that. So obviously we'd spies in the camp on Friday that were up at Rickerton and were watching, and they put in the group chat with the team that was defending set plays, and I thought he was kidding on. And I seen Andy Halliday was coming in for Cochrane, and Gary Mackay-Steven had come in for Woodburn, with obviously Boyce retaining or coming back into the starting 11 in place of Josh Ginnelly. First half, it was pretty rubbish, wasn't it? Kev, we spoke about it at the game. Why does shooting towards the Gorgie Road end first knock us off our stride so much?
It's bizarre. I mean, you're right. We spoke about it at halftime. It's bizarre. We traditionally have always gone towards the school end or Roseburn stand. That's how we've always set up. Every first half virtually is that way, and I can't ever remember a great performance where we've actually hit towards the Gorgie Road in the first half. I don't think it's ever happened.
Well, historically, we used to shoot the other way about because the Gorgie Road end used to be the away end. So we
Aye.
used to shoot towards the Gorgie Road end first and then towards the school end when it was the old Tynecastle in the shed. So I didn't understand how you can just say, right, actually, we're going to shoot that way instead of that way, and it knocks us off our stride.
It
Because
makes a difference.
for the first half, we were pretty poor. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say that you have to credit St Mirren and that St Mirren are a good side. Sorry, but they are not. Their league position tells you that they're not a good side. They weren't a good side when we played them at home. When you look at how they played, yeah, they're neat and tidy on the eye, but again, maybe it's just a Hearts perspective or bias, whatever you want to call it, but I just felt that we were never out of first gear in the first half. We just couldn't click. We couldn't get the right players in the right positions on the ball. We couldn't handle the little press that St Mirren were doing in terms of closing down Suter, Halkett and Kingsley. Suter's distribution was abysmal. Gordon's distribution was abysmal, and nothing stuck. Everything we went along, it came straight back at us. Kev?
I could understand yesterday why at certain times yesterday we had a back five.
Aye.
And all right, you've said let's take Cochrane out to bring Halliday in. Hopefully it's not so that he's got a game under his belt before playing at Parkhead on Thursday, because I genuinely believe that Cochrane's a better option at left back, or left wing back, should I say, because he does give you that pace. He's always open for an actual out ball. But yesterday it was like we effectively had a back five at certain times. You're like, what the hell's going on here? But again, it comes all about as from the point of view that we always chose the wrong option in the first half yesterday. Every single time we chose the wrong option. Suter's distribution, as you say, I generally think somebody was watching him in the stands. I think Nielsen's actually turned around and said, there's such and such for whichever club's here to watch it today, and he's had an absolute stinker. I think he actually made one successful pass in the first half. That's how bad he was yesterday.
He was pretty poor, like.
And do you think that impacted on Smith's performance? So we've gave him a bit of a knock on there for the pass back situation. Was he mopping up for John having an off day?
No.
John. There he is.
John, aye. No bother, mate. Thanks, Alistair. Scott, what were you going to say?
Well, Liam, I was going to say there was definitely an element of making the wrong choices, but overall for me, we just didn't dictate play. When you're the home team and you've got that crowd behind you, or well, I say that crowd because I wasn't there, unfortunately, due to fucking weather, which I'm still raging about. But never mind that. We didn't dictate play. We didn't look comfortable on the ball for vast majority of the first half. You're talking about making the wrong choices. Yes, there's an element of not making the correct choices, but there's so many other factors at play. Is like we just didn't look comfortable at home. It was the first time I've seen us at home this season, and granted I've missed a couple of games where we actually looked unsteady, and it wasn't great. Absolutely wasn't great, and I don't know what changed it. And the worrying thing for me about this whole thing, and again, you look at one game as a microcosm, it seems like almost a regression to the mean, which is you look at how shit we played in spells throughout last season. It's like, are we tending back towards that? And that's the bit I'm panicking about, if I'm being brutally honest. And I know it's only one game, and you know what, I should just fucking shut the fuck up because we won it 2-0 in the end. But there were so many bad points about that game yesterday. It feels like we absolutely got out of jail with a 2-0.
I think you're probably in the situation that we found ourselves in last year, is because you're watching it on TV. At no point when I was watching it on Saturday did I genuinely feel like St Mirren were going to beat us or whatever. Yeah, they caused us bother or whatever, but we just played poor, if you know what I mean. We were just very poor. You look to the first half where we were at our absolute poorest. I think Gordon's made one save. He's had one proper save to make. Their chances that St Mirren had second half, where he's made great saves, have come from us being a bit more expansive, rocket up the arse, whatever you want to call it, at half time, because we definitely came out and played differently in the second half, in terms of, Mackay being more influential. There was a couple of times during the first half where Barry Mackay made two unbelievable passes where you're thinking, if Boyce hadn't been out for a few weeks and was maybe match sharp and they were on the same wavelength, they were two beautifully reversed passes to Boyce that if he'd just been a wee half yard sharper, he probably would have got there in front of the goalkeeper, which I like. That was something I found really encouraging and positive about the game on Saturday, was the relationship that you can see between Boyce and Mackay. I think is great. You have little pockets of partnerships popping up. Whoa, that was alliteration max. That are really impressive. I really like you said, Suter and Halkett. They suit each other. And I don't think either of the two of them look as strong when one of the two isn't there. You look at Boyce and Mackay. I think they've got a great relationship. Benny and Devlin, they've got a great relationship. We just seem, for me, when we're at our poorest, that we're missing somebody that links it all together. Do you know, like somebody that can just add that little bit different. But I think Peter Haring made a difference when he came on. Obviously that he came on late because of an injury to Benny, but it's something that I've thought about when we're looking at playing from away from home, is you've only got two of them in the midfield and the two wing backs. So, we go to Celtic on Thursday. We're going to be overloaded in the midfield just if we stick to that formation, because of the formation they play and the formation we play. Does Peter Haring have a role in there that can sit him alongside Benny and let Devlin kind of foray forward? Because out of the two of them, Devlin is the one that goes forward probably the most. But that they were the positives there. One of the things, my biggest bugbear on Saturday, and Kev, you'll be sick of hearing me because I fucking wasped you about it on Saturday, or hang me. We had at least 4 opportunities where we could have hit a shot, but we didn't because it was on the weaker foot and we cut back. Boyce was put through, left foot, just swing it. Look at what Woodburn did against Dundee United. Swung his bad foot, goalkeeper made an arse it, puts us 1-0 up. Boyce has slid through, anything that's on his left-hand side, he's always cutting back to his right foot. When you think, just have a ping, because it gives everybody an opportunity to reset. Keeper gets a chance to work on his feet. Defenders get a chance to catch back. We had a situation in the first half where I think came to Boyce. Boyce didn't want to hit it because it was on his wrong foot. Passed to Mackay. Mackay had an opportunity to shoot, but it was on his wrong foot. Passed it to Suter. It was on Suter's wrong foot, so he passed it again. I was like, somebody just fucking shoot. Like, how many times that we're talking about show names? That's going to be the show name for Saturday. Fucking shoot, because there was so many opportunities.
Writing it down now, man.
Whether it be Devlin, whether it be Benny, the second half, we play a nice short corner, falls to Benny at the edge of the box. He's 25 yards out with not a single person on him, and there isn't a chance in hell that he's shooting. He's just not going to do it. We'll go back to Craig Gordon. The boy that sits up beside us, Kev, in Section G, he's funny. Always shouts, doesn't matter where we are. Boys could be one-on-one with the keeper, and he's shouting, "Keeper, Gordon's open, get it to Gordon." And within 3 passes, it's back to Craig Gordon. And you're like, what? How has that happened? How have we been one-on-one with the keeper, and it's ended up back there? But that's definitely something that was apparent on Saturday, was the just inability to hit a shot. Somebody's going to have to put laces through it soon, isn't they? Shanksy.
I put my hand up like 48 sentences ago, so I didn't even care what I was going to say. I've got 3 things. If we're tinkering with the team, why are we tinkering with 2 players on the same wing? So Halliday and GMS were our 2 weakest links for me on Saturday. Thought they both had a fucking howler. Other players weren't brilliant, but I don't know. I just thought that was a bit.
I think is it no down to the amount of games in the next 2 weeks, though. Realistically, they're going to have to rest folk.
Yeah,
it's Christmas time. That's just what's going to have to happen.
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, I don't think Andy Halliday had a bad game. I think Andy Halliday suffered massively from the fact that he had 0 protection in front of him from Gary Mackay-Steven, who, this what bugs me about football. Football's the weirdest thing on planet Earth. Barry Mackay is Hearts' most influential attacking football player. I'll sit and argue with anybody that disagrees with it. He's intelligent. His runs are great. He never stops showing for the ball. Constantly trying something. Constantly trying to link play. But Gary Mackay-Stevens has got 2 goals this season and 2 assists to Barry Mackay's 1 assist and no goals. And folk will go, oh GMS has contributed more in the Hearts jersey than Barry Mackay has. And it's like, honestly, give it a break. There was points on Saturday where GMS was just wandering. He didn't even have his hand up. The amount of times that Boyce actually won a header and Gary Mackay-Steven was on his heels because he wasn't interested. There's no that he was caught off guard and didn't think, oh, Boyce was there. He's just not interested. He was literally just floating, wandering about.
And
what does he need?
That was my third point. I felt that I don't know about you boys, but I felt that Boyce was absolutely just getting fed up with the lack of service, and I just felt that he was dropping back so much. The amount of times that he was picking up the ball, maybe kind of 30 yards out, there was just nobody up top. He seemed to be the furthest forward, and just continually having to come back because he was getting fuck all service. But I don't know if that's a formation or what, but.
That's nothing new though. It's like we all know that like Boyce over the course of a season is like he's not just the guy that will sit in the penalty box and wait for things to happen. He's an absolute workhorse. He will be all over the park. It's like how many times have we seen him back defending them at critical moments throughout a game? He's my best mate. You fucking leave him alone.
There was just times where he needed to. We were clearly playing the wide game and he needed to trust the boys around him. And then the third thing I was going to say was I never really caught much of the Motherwell game. I couldn't make it for the boys. I was pretty devastated, so I'll fucking make up for it at Amityville on Sunday. But Gino, 1-on-1, what the actual fuck? How many times does he need to beat the same man? 3, 4, 5 times on the edge of the box. Just keeps trying to turn him inside and out. It's like, just fucking play it in or have a ping. Jesus.
That is the point I made 5 minutes ago. He's no trying to beat his man, as he can't shoot with his bad foot. So they could cut back inside. He can't shoot with his left foot. So he's constantly trying to cut back onto his right foot. That's exactly what Barry Mackay does. It's exactly what Liam Boyce does. And it's just easy. It's too easy to play against when it comes to that sort of stuff.
We keep doing the swap. Kev, you called it out 20 minutes in. Our wingers keep swapping. Is that hampering them? Do we need to stop that pish?
No, that's what's so thingy about that formation.
That's what it likes, because it's interchangeable. It keeps the defenders thinking.
And when it works, and it's like you said. But the problem that you have is there's only 2 of them at the 3 that have the work rate, desire, and the attributes to make that work. And that was Boyce and Mackay. I'm not just going after Gary Mackay-Stevens because, and I'm keep calling him his wrong name, which is to my head, but never mind. But honestly, watch him. At one point, I was going to get my phone and just video him because it's pathetic. And
I was going to say, are you going to describe it as pathetic?
It is. Honestly, we've played football, right, to semi-decent levels or a shite level or whatever it is. Every single one of us has played with a player that doesn't want the ball, that can't be bothered running, that too lazy to do anything. That's him. That is absolutely him.
Are you saying that GMS is actual Tam?
But
fucking might be.
Whoa, I'm class.
But that is like
you
look at where the thing that makes 3-4-3 work is it's desire to run. It's make a run that you know you're not going to get the ball. It's make the run just to close the keeper down, close the defender down, make him do something, and you don't get that for Gary Mackay-Steven. And then that, for me, knocks back onto, well, Halliday can't go forward, because if he goes past Gary Mackay-Steven isn't tracking that runner. He's no running back. He's not going to bust a gut to go support him. So Andy Halliday doesn't go past the halfway line. Then you've got on the other side, Mikey Smith doesn't have the legs to do it, so he doesn't go past the halfway line. For long spells against St Midden at home, we played a flat back 5. That's mental. It's absolute for a team that had 3 shots on target and were barely causing us any bother. To play 5 straight at the back was mental, and it didn't start to click into gear until like we've mentioned, Kingsley started just busting forward. The amount of times that Stephen Kingsley in the second half had his man and just run him. Just run him into the space. Didn't matter whether he was going to get in it in, and the amount of throw-ins we won, the amount of corners that we won based on those runs are everything that you don't get for GMS. And you know what I mean? Like, he scored and it gets us off and we go on and score again or whatever. But there's just something about him. There's just something that just, when he was at Aberdeen, and Joel Sked was the one that pointed this out and reminded me as well, was the fact that when he was at Dundee United, when he was at Celtic, when he was at Aberdeen, he was fun in terms of he'd try a step over, a Cruyff turn, he'd try a flick, he'd go on a mazy, he would do something that was like, you would go, all right, well, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might be ineffective, but at least he's got skill, he can do something a bit out of the ordinary. He does none of that. He doesn't even look comfortable playing with Hearts. He just doesn't look like he's interested. Which is
a trick named after him or something like that, is that all?
I can't remember. Was it jumping in a river?
Aye, it's just the salmon dive or something like that.
But
the hypothermia.
So what you're saying, Corbett, is he's Disney play on Thursday night?
He will though. That's the whole. That's what comes next. Is obviously we'll move on to talk about Celtic in a minute. But the positives for Saturday were that we won ugly. We weren't anywhere near our best. We're making Tynecastle a bit of a fortress. Is what we need. That's wherever we finish in the league this season will be built on what we do at Tynecastle, because our away form is so erratic that we're going to need to be making sure that we aren't losing to the sides that are technically or what we would consider to be worse than us. So, anything else that happened on Saturday against St Mirren that you wanted to highlight? Do you want to talk about Kingsley's free kick again, just because it's an absolute belter?
It's a worldie in it.
Yeah. My favourite thing is, you seen the reaction by Benny when it goes in? He's like that. He's just literally like, I cannot believe
Benny
it.
Injured.
He's all right.
He's all right. He was just milking it, apparently.
Was it John?
How worried were you?
Tackled him? Well, no, I was worried. You weren't worried. You were telling me he was all right. I was like, Tam, I can see him live. He's getting a stretcher. You were like,
my Hearts TV was delayed compared to you being live.
It looked like he went over on his ankle. So it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look tragic. But again, it's one of these things that the medical people will decide what's tragic and what's not. But hopefully, I don't think it's too bad. It doesn't look too much of a bad one.
Ken, what's tragic? My dad texted me and said that Woodburn boy for Liverpool's just went down with a sore ankle and got stretchered off. You've got part of that right, Dad, but so many bits wrong.
Yeah, actually, there was a couple of things in that game that we didn't talk about. The St Mirren offside we've discussed before this. I'm not convinced that was offside. We absolutely got away with one there, in my opinion. But we had a Stonewall penalty. I think Josh Ginnelly's tried to shoot or cross the ball in the 93rd minute or whatever it was, and the boys literally just did that and stopped it with his hand. £112. Absolute stewing, man. That is what exactly. The guy behind us was 180 quid. He had Hearts -2 or something like that. So he was livid as well. But there was a couple that were shockers in there. Did you see Jim Goodwin after the game saying that Shaughnessy shouldn't have been sent off because there was only a minute left?
That doesn't even make sense. Like, what does it matter?
Aye, that's fucking bollocks. It's like, well, if that had happened in the first minute, would you not send him off because he was still getting into the swing of things? Bollocks, it doesn't matter. If you're on the park and you make that foul, you're
how good is Devlin on that sending off? Just funny, laughing at him and just like
he's trying his best.
I just want to be pals with him, man. No.
Where's that Shaughnessy for? You got him on loan for Leeds, eh? Is he still with Leeds?
That was his.
Or is he signed for? Oh, is it? All right. I've Shanks that, eh?
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's good to have you back. It's good to have you back.
You know what I quite like about everyone on this podcast is they actually just call him Shaughnessy. If you listen to any on the fucking, they write that one down, Tam. Listen to ND on the radio or the television, they overpronounce his name, and it really gets on my fucking wick.
St Mirren on the TV that often, I didn't.
Shaughnessy.
At one time,
Shaughnessy.
At one point, Kev said to me, "Who's that going off for St Mirren?" I was like, "I can't even fucking tell you a St Mirren player, Kev. I don't even know who they are." Like, with Billy Mehmet is the thing of my nightmares. He's the only St Mirren player I know.
I hate St Mirren. I absolutely
Same.
hate them. But they're
Same.
an irrelevance.
Very much so. Very much so. Right, so moving on to Thursday then, we go to Celtic Park. We for the amazing record that Robbie has against Rangers, he balances out with an absolutely horrendous record against Celtic. Brads, did we write this game off or do we have more ambition? Aberdeen, probably one of the worst teams I've seen us play this year, who we have yet to beat. Went there and came pretty close to getting a draw. I think they had a header cleared off the line in the very last seconds. What's be your take on it?
I think you've got to balance this up. Like, there's no point going to try and be as open as you if you want to play against Celtic. But defensively, they are shaky. Like, Ralston's pish. Their two centre backs are absolutely murder. Joe Hart's absolute jobbies. However, I do worry about a back three against kind of Furuhashi, Jota. They would just tear those boys apart. So I want to go positive in the sense of they keep the shape and keep the three up top and try and play at them. Because if you run at that Celtic back line, they're absolutely murder. I don't know if you watched the Bayern Leverkusen highlights. They just fell apart. They crumbled. But on the flip side of that, offensively, they are really good. So it's an interesting one to balance. I gave you absolutely zero information there. There you go. Enjoy.
Well, the thing is, like, Halliday and GMS didn't come in for St Mirren. We've been purposely brought them in for a flat back five against Celtic, which I see its merits. If I'm being honest with you, you're right. From an attacking point of view, Celtic are probably the best side in the league going forward. They've got some properly decent players that end of the park. But you then say, right, well, they do. But if you counterbalance that to say, well, actually, they're horrendous at the back, and we tried to contain them in the League Cup, and then that never worked. And actually, when we started to have a go at them, we caused them real bother. Josh Ginnelly, Aaron McInnes, Boyce, all those type of guys that actually made them ask real questions of them. So you've got to try and balance out what do you think is the best. But my opinion has always been the same when you go to Celtic Park and Ibrox is you're not expected to win. So just go play your game. If you get beat 5, you get beat 5. I've seen Hearts beat 5 and try not to be beat 5. I've seen us go and play our best sides and get scudded. But if we get scudded on Thursday, I won't be shocked. What will find disappointing and what would suck the life out of the team for me is if we go change your approach, change your attitude, and get scudded anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, you go and we'll try and keep it tight, and we didn't want to lose by a few goals, and then you lose by a few goals anyway. You think, well, what does that do? So Tam, what would be your changes? What would be your outlook for Thursday?
To be honest, the thing that worries me about Celtic is the way they just overload the midfield with their sort of inverted wing backs, the three in the midfield. That's going to be a lot for just Benny and Devlin to handle, just the two of them, because they'll be up against essentially 4 or 5 players. So I honestly would like to see us match them. I want a wee bit of change of shape. I don't know if I would go the back three. I would like to see us go like a 4-3-3. Have a sort of, like you say, a Peter Haring in there, even a McInnes to kind of link the front three to the midfield. Do it that way, and go for that. That's what the changes I'd like to see. I'd put Cochrane straight back in. I'd keep Smith at the right back, but I think up back 4 and then 3 in midfield to kind of counteract them.
See, there's a part of me that wishes Nando wasn't absolute horseshit because I think he'd be perfect to play 2 up top with boys because that Carlton Vickers boy or whatever it is, what is that all about? He looks like he goes to fucking Slimming World with Mama. He's about 23 stone and he's absolute useless. But again, we called it out half-time Motherwell, don't know if it was you, Brads, or if it was Kev that I was talking to, but Nando wasn't out warming up against Motherwell. He wasn't part of the warming up team. I don't know where he was, if he just stayed in or couldn't be arsed. He wasn't there. Never warmed up on Saturday. He wasn't part of the half-time warm-up on Saturday. And when he actually came on, did you notice that Hearts had to actually put a coach out with him on the touchline to get him to warm up?
That's not the first time that's happened this season as well. I obviously sit in that corner flag.
Yep.
And it happens week in, week out. The fitness coaches with him, showing him what to do to warm up, and you're like, what? You're a professional footballer.
Right, and
Do a wee bit of stretching, run.
And
What's going on there?
His attitude when he came on Saturday as well was shocking. Again, he just does not look interested in playing with Hearts, which is really annoying because, like I just said there, I think we're going to be pressed, we're going to be hemmed in. Going over the top of Celtic or getting somebody that's going to be able to hold the ball up and win that would be ideal. I think that's what would cause them the most bother, because they don't like defending, they don't like being asked questions, they don't like being made to face Joe Hart. But I just can't see it myself, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But we've got Celtic Thursday, Livingston, then Rangers. It kind of feels a bit like this period, and it's always been the same. The leagues, people say leagues and that are won and positions decided in May, obviously. But I always feel like the sort of end of November and the Christmas run, December, or what kind of some will sort of size you up as to where you're going to finish. We're quite lucky on Thursday in the sense that I still think Hibs will be our main contenders or rivals for finishing top 3, top 4. I think Dundee United had a good season, but I can't see them keeping pace with everybody. They play Rangers on Wednesday, I think it is.
Yeah, you're right. Wednesday.
So we'll have a bit of an idea as to what we're up against in terms of if they get points off Rangers. They take points off Rangers and we go to Celtic Park the next game day with an opportunity with Celtic to close the gap at the top of the league. Alarm bells, if you're asking me. But the next 5, I think, what's a realistic points tally for you, Kev?
14. 14. I'm going first. 14 out of 18 points.
So you're asking me because
I said the next 5, but that's fine.
Well, I'd written down the next 6 games pre-pod, so I've written down 6. Games.
Right, so we'll go with 6 then, right? We'll go with 6. So you're saying 14, Kev?
I think out the next 6 games, which I think does take you up to the St Johnstone game in between Christmas and New Year. Yeah. And we're probably going to make an absolute fuck up of this again, like I did at the beginning of the season. I think over that possible 18 points, I think we might be lucky to get double figures. Because I can't see us getting anything on Thursday. Rangers are going to be buoyant with a new manager and everything else a week on Sunday.
No, that ship is sailed.
No.
I don't know. I think you still find it.
I'm saying 9 points.
You got 9 points.
3 wins, 3 losses.
Tam?
I'm going 6. Not 6, 12, sorry. Apologies, 12. I was 6 games, 12. We're only going to lose against Celtic and Rangers.
Look, Ando?
That's taking us up to what, the Hibs game?
The game
before the Hibs game, yeah.
Game before the Hibs game. So Celtic away, fuck all, we'll get beat. Livingston away, we'll get 3 points. Rangers at home, a draw. Dundee away, 3. Ross County at home and St Johnstone at home, 3 points each. Whatever that is. We're only dropping points against Celtic
13
and Rangers.
Points, you're saying?
Yeah.
Aye. No chance for me, like absolute no chance.
Aspirational.
I think we'll take care of that. I think we'll take care of the home games. Rangers, as like you said, you don't know how that's going to go. Or they're off a European game, aren't they? They play Europe on the Thursday. So if they take that, they're already through. It's a free hit for them in Europe on the Thursday, so they potentially won't play the big hitters. It's a venue that their title challenges came unstuck the season before COVID. I'll say 9. I'll say 9 points. I think we'll win the 3 home games that are now against Rangers. No, we've only got 2.
We've only got 2. Aye.
Ross
Then,
County.
Two home games.
I think we'll fuck one of them. I've went a draw against Ross County, and I'm also getting us a draw on Thursday. So see how we get.
fair.
Well, you've been
Ballsy.
drinking.
Aye, again, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Petrol.
Scotch water.
I jumped ahead of my predictions. Let's do predictions for Thursday, and then we'll dive into the answers from our quiz. So Shanks, you can go first since you say we're getting a draw. What's your prediction? What's the score?
1-1 Thursday night. 1-1.
Who's scoring for the Hertz?
Cammy Devlin.
Cammy Devlin. Right, okay. Brad's
I'm going to be negative. It's going to be a 3-0 defeat. Cammy Devlin red card.
Accurate.
I'm going to be more negative. 4-0 Celtic.
Ando.
3-0 Celtic.
Kev.
2-0 Celtic.
I'm 5-0 Celtic. And I'm also the same as you. Someone will get red carded. Someday we'll get
It probably will be Cammy Devlin.
Okay,
boy.
so I think
1-1 Devlin to score and get red carded.
right. Okay, so
I'll get the odds for that.
the bonus question.
Right.
The bonus question in the predictor this week will be pick your Hearts player to get red carded.
I think it should be
Okay.
what minute in the game is Cammy Devlin getting sent off?
Oh, Andy Halliday will play, so it's going to be Andy Halliday that'll get the red card.
Well, that's your choice. Well, we'll see how the chips fall.
Right. Right. Let's do the answers. So, Brad's, will we come to you first? Is this the one that you're confident with, Shanks?
I've got all of these.
Right. Oh, well, that's good. Let's start with there then. Right, Brad, you gears them, then Shanks can answer them.
Yeah, sound. Right, so the first one was Randall and Salmon. We're trying to find their teammates, Claire and McCurdy. But Claire and McCurdy had gone on a cruise. Randall asks if the guys were on land, but I respond blank. CS Shanky.
We're not on land. We're on Cole Stockton.
No. You've literally just said the player's name as well. Like 5 minutes ago.
So I've got the right answer.
No.
How does
Sean.
this game fucking
So Randall and Salmon are who?
football? Connor Randall,
Connor.
Connor Salmon, Connors.
Connors, yep. And
But he's-
Sean, Claire and Sean McCurdy are not on land. They're at
C.
So Connor, Sean at Seas.
and he's on loan for Leeds to Faith. Oh, doesn't matter.
So it's Connor, Sean at sea. So there you go.
Good thing I've got the next two right.
Yeah.
Can we just go to
Right.
Shanks for all of these, please? I'm happy with that.
Right, the second one.
Or 2 or 3.
The second one, Amankwa, Wilson, and this player started their boy band, but their music abilities were just as pish as their performances for Hearts. Tonight will be their final performance. So in other words, it'll be their blank. Shanks.
Swan song.
It's
Danny
a
the
Dan-
Hip Swanson.
It's a Danny Swan song. There you go.
There we go.
Did you get that one, Corbett?
Yep.
I think you seem quite confident at the start.
Yep.
Right, last one. Templeton has retired to set up a snow sports business with the big fanny from that 70s show who managed to bag Kunis and Moore. They have combined their names to come up with the perfect company. DK.
So I've been searching Wikipedia for Hearts players with the initials DK for ages, and I couldn't remember the clue. And now I know that I've got it right. David Kucharski.
It is David Kucharski. Did anybody get it without cheating?
I got it without cheating.
I can't even mind David.
I don't even know who that is, man. I've no idea.
He was only there for like 2 seasons
games.
and played 4 games or something like that.
Aye.
14 games. I had to Google them. So there you go.
There we go. Right. Over to you, Kev. End on a high.
Probably not, to be truthfully honest.
I know, I was trying to give you the platform, but it's fine. You got upstaged by a cat's arsehole. I was trying to give you an opportunity to fix it, but there you go. No, fix the cat's arsehole. I don't know what's wrong with the cat's arsehole. I'm just talking about this moment.
There's nothing, man. We've had it at the vets and it's fine.
So the clues were played more games for Hearts than any other club. Only scored 3 competitive goals, one of which was in a 2-2 draw with Rangers. And he did play for another Scottish club, but they're shite. And is that your guess there, Shanks? So how are you working that one out?
Is this an audio only podcast? Because
I was going to say, is it
So,
lost the
Shanks
fucking
put
Is it
in the
Robbie
chat.
Nielsen?
No, it's not Robbie Nielsen. Have you got any guesses?
Adam Eckersley.
No. Nope. Correct answer would
Jason Holt is what I said.
say Jason Holt. No, the correct answer would be Ruben Palace-Wellis.
Did they play with another
I
Scottish
was
club?
going to say whatever Scottish club.
Is it Ross County? They're shite.
Was it? Fair.
There
See,
you
if
go.
you'd
That's
named
true.
any other team shite, I wouldn't have went straight to Ross County. But I get you.
I'm not going to lie.
Shite and meaningless.
I didn't write any of this shit down, Kev. I only wrote Bradsy's one down because I thought this one was for the socials, but never mind.
No.
Right.
I do have one for the socials, which I've sent on to you already. And the last one was brought to the club by Big Joe Jordan. Only ever scored in cup competitions and was next to Scott Crabbe in the hairdressers getting his highlights done. So going back to proper old school.
Wayne Foster.
Ooh,
Ian Ferguson.
Aye.
He had blonde hair, did he not?
he did. You're right, mate. You're right. Neither are correct, I'm sorry to say, guys. I have made these ones a little bit tougher this week. The answer was Glyn Snodden.
Kev,
Snodden.
I'll
He's
take
even
this
a
feature
person.
after you.
There could have been a "What was Tam doing in the toilet on the train to Motherwell" joke in there somewhere. But,
All right,
Some
I got
boy
you.
called
Ah,
Glenn.
Aye. There we
Right.
go. Well, what a horrendous way to end the podcast.
That's
You-
absolute
You've
brutal.
ruined it. I feel devastated that the next time we're going to have to pod, we'll have been absolutely spanked by Livingston and Celtic. And you've fucking got Glenn Snodden or whatever he's called in my head, Kev. Thank you. See you
You're
later.
welcome.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Cheerio,
Cheerio.
boys. Catch you later.
Gotta get out.